strawberry cream cheese, and an apple. Bro, bro, this is busting, bro. I just invented something, bro.
Good morning. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make a sexy drill beat for someone like Jordan Adetunji or Don Tolliver or Wolfface Joey. I'm gonna show you how I make the melody and flipped it and made the drums, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you watch my previous tutorials, then you would know that when it comes to making sexy drill type beats, always go for making an R&B melody, because I think that it makes it hard when you make sexy drill its own genre. But in my opinion, I see sexy drill as R&B drill, kind of R&B melodic drill usually. So if you make an R&B melody and then flip that into a more upbeat kind of drill beat, then it's pretty much a cheat code for making sexy drill. So when it comes to making R&B melodies, the first sound is usually the most important one because it's the foundation, especially if you love to layer like me. So the first sound that we got is this keys preset out of Analog Lab called The Girls Need Love. And pretty much I just laid out these 7th chords, and this is what it sounds like. So yeah, it's a very simple melody. Like I said, it's just 7 chords in D minor, so it's gonna sound a little bit more R&B-ish rather than it being in major. So to make something similar, right, just to show you. So let's say that we want to work in G sharp minor, so I'm gonna make a G sharp minor 7th chord. It's gonna look like this. That's a regular triad chord. Now for a 7th, it's just add one more note to the top, so it sound like this. Right now I'm gonna go down probably to an E. So now it's gonna have to be an E major chord so that it stays in the scale. And see too, the good thing about that is that most of the notes are the same. Like literally these notes don't change. It's just these notes. So it's gonna sound a little bit more consistent. Now let's go down to a D sharp. So a D sharp minor chord. Okay, now we get to the last chord, right? So what I did for the original melody was use a diminished chord. Think of it almost like a minor chord, right? So in a minor chord, the way that it's built is that you have a minor third plus a major third. That's a minor triad chord, right? So let's say that we want to go to an E. So we're back at the E major chord, right? So to make it minor, we're going to take this G sharp, move it down one. So this right here is a minor third. And right here, right, from G to B, that's a major third. We want to make it minors because it's going to be a diminished chord. So we're going to make this also a minor third. Then A sharp to C sharp, it's also a minor third. So this chord right here is diminished. So it's gonna sound a little bit more dissonant and a little bit more suspenseful, which is what I'm going for the last chord. Let's see how that sounds. Now we need a chord to get back to the original chord. So I'm gonna go up again to an F sharp and then change some of the notes. All right, so this is our last chord right here. So now let's transpose this and now let's see how it sounds. Yeah, that sounds good. I think that the chords sound pretty nice and that the last part is definitely a good way back into the first chord. So for that one, just an imager to make it sound more wide. Now we get into layering because that's what we do on this channel. Next sound, we got this pad at an Analog Lab called The Night Conversation. And like I said, it's the same chords because we're layering and this is what they sound like. As you can hear, this pad has a lot of texture to it, so I think that's gonna layer good with the original sound. So we're not done layering yet, of course, you know me. So this time I want to go for a different kind of sound. I chose a piano out of Analog Lab and copied the same exact chords, but I also, when I use pianos, I love to add basses to it. So I copied the bass notes down 2 octaves. Now this is what it sounds like. So now I'm gonna play all the sounds together, and you're gonna see how much fuller it sounds together. Literally, that could be a whole melody in itself. But we're not done yet. So first, right, I'm gonna show you what I did. So I went to Analog Lab and I grabbed this little key thing and I just played out a melody on my MIDI keyboard. I was just freestyling for the most part. So this is what that sound like. So that's cool. Like when you play with the melody, it's okay. But I'm like, how can I make this sound a lot more textured? So I just reversed it pretty much. I reversed it and I added on these effects. First, I added on a magic switch for some chorus, an EQ to cut out some of the harshness, a compressor to compress some of the harshness, a wider to make it sound more wide, a phaser to give it some more phase, and then a crystallizer to give the little effect to it. So with all that, you get this right here. That's fire, isn't it? No. What you mean, bro? That's fire. What are you talking about, bro? You was a hater, bro. I'm about to get mad. Next, I got a lead out of Analog Lab. This one's gonna be played as some ear candy. This is what it sound like. So for that, got on the EQ with the telephone effect. Then a Valhalla Supermassive on it with some reverb, and then some more reverb. And we also got a different lead, which is gonna play at a different time of the melody. This one I went to Sky Keys instead, and I grabbed this little About Time preset and laid out this very simple ear candy pattern. Very simple for that, no effects. It didn't need anything. So far we get this. See, with those pauses that I made in the chords, you can see how I filtered out with the leads and the accents. Now we get a vocal, because I love to use vocals, especially in sexy drill and R&B stuff. So we get this right here. It's pretty much just that copied over. I got that out of the FL Cloud. That got some pretty good vocal presets in there. Next, we got a bass. Like very simple, literally just copy the bass notes out of the chords and then you have a synth bass. Now we get into the accents and the textures, because I love to add those in my melodies for the more emotional ones. I got this accent out of this Producer Ground drum kit, which is free. It's the Producer Ground Cadence drum kit, and it sounds like this. And then we got this transition out of the same drum kit, which sounds like this. Last but not least, we got some ambience, which adds some more soul to the melody, if that makes sense. Just this beach texture sounds like this. Yeah, so the melody is sounding like this. Now let's get into the drums. So first we made the R&B melody, and we made that at a pretty slow BPM. So now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and speed it up to around 140 to like 150. That's usually for a sexy drill kind of beat. And then you also might want to play with the pitch too, just to give it, you know, a more simple kind of vibe. So what I did was that I pitched it down by 1, so now we're in a C sharp minor, and we're at 144 BPM. So the drums is gonna be very simple. So first we got the Gwen stomp kick, which you will hear in most sexy drill kinds of beats. So this is what this sounds like. But that I added on some reverb with some ROM to give it a more ambient effect. Then the EQ to cut out some of the low muds and boost some of the things that I liked in it. And usually I love to layer my Gwen stomp kicks and sexy drill beats with a open hat just to give it some more texture. So I went to this open hat at this Kabi drum kit, and that's what this sound like. It just gives the kick more character. But then I add on some reverb with some ROM and then a wider just to thicken up a little bit. Now we got the sexy drill bounce with the hi-hats. You probably recognize this bounce, but this is what this sound like. Yeah, usually for sexy drill beats, I don't usually see the hi-hat going too crazy, but it's your beat, so you can do what you want with it. I'm just saying what I usually hear. Sometimes I might go crazy with the hi-hats, just, you know, because I love to go crazy with hi-hats and basses, but for this one I said, nah, let me just leave some space for the artist. Next we got some snaps. Then we got a simple perk that I made from scratch. It's gonna be in my R&B drum kit. Then we have a shaker, which adds to the hi-hats for some extra bounce. This one I did a little bit more than I did with the hi-hats. Then we got an accent snare. Then we got the sexy drill bass line, which you hear, you might recognize it. I just copied down the same bass notes from the chords and then added some slides in there. Having stops on your beats like right here give the beat a lot more bounce and a lot more character. Also too, by having slides like these, so pretty much listen right here. You just want to get a note, put it up top, like up an octave, and then make sure that the velocity is all the way down to 0. And then you get a slide note, have it at 100%, so that's gonna slide right into the next note. And now also too, you can do the same thing, but by having a note that's up top and having the velocity at 100%, and then taking the sliding note and just drag it out, so it's like, so it slides into it like this. Just simple stuff like that give your beat a lot more character. So for the verse, I want to add a little bit of a switch up. So I added in a snare that hits like a regular snare. It sounds like this. Get that snare out of my drum kit too that I'm making. For most of the drum sounds too, I added on some reverb. So I think that reverb sounds good in beats like these that's like more melodic and more emotional. Because, you know, I got reverb on the snare, reverb on a hi-hat and all that good stuff, reverb on the snaps. It just adds a lot more ambience to the beat. And last but not least, we got an 808, which I use for the verse. Pretty much it's like almost the same thing as the synth bass, but just some more cuts in it and less stops. But yeah, this one sounds like this. Yeah, I think that for sexy drill beats, I don't always like using the synth bass like the whole time. I love to switch it up, so I might add a regular bass or a short bass or just something different to give it some more variation. So now I'm gonna show you the full beat. But before that, if you made it to the end, thank you. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a like, tickle that like button. Go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. Follow my socials at Tia Lorine, and drink your water, eat your apples, and yeah, have a good day. Peace.
Sierra, what you on?